Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and assorted people of the internet. I am James Phoenix, and this is another review here on Pez of the Mind. This is a video as part of the Summer of Disney 2016, and we're here to talk about the theme park-inspired Disney film Tomorrowland. Joining me over here is Chriz the Mole.
Hello, people of the internet.
Is that
My
that
name
thing with the rock?
is Christopher.
And over here is Anastasia Lazerbeam's little animated face.
No, but
Also, I
is
think
this the
her-
one with the
I think
rock?
her voice is there. No, this
No,
is
this is the one with George Clooney.
Okay.
You may remember him from such film as Bat Nipples.
There you go.
and also movies about how to rob a casino.
Yeah, but they're good. I was going for the cheap.
Yes.
Let's get a dig out the way.
Yes. Completely unrelated. You see, they're taking the Ghostbusters route. They're making an all-women prequel.
To
The Ocean's movies.
yeah, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, it should be interesting. It sounds like they got a really good cast, but we'll talk about that later. The topic at hand, this is Tomorrowland. Of course, the film based on the section of both the Disneyland
I know
and
what I was thinking of. Escape from Witch Mountain, which is a completely different.
not at all
film.
related movie.
Yeah, but it's still Disney related.
It is still a Disney movie, but that's not the movie we're talking about.
I know.
Yeah.
That's the one I was thinking of with the rock. Though.
Which this is the first. Isn't this the first Disney movie based on an area instead of a specific attraction?
Yes, it is. Or is that
Because
out?
there's been ones from specific attractions like Country Bears,
Review available now on Pez of Mine.
the Haunted Mansion,
Stay tuned. Coming up.
Pirates of the Caribbean,
Also coming up. Stay tuned.
and more. But this is one based on the actual area instead of just a specific attraction.
That's
Indeed. And it's very cool. So, for the benefit of those like Pew who might not be totally familiar with the movie stars George Clooney. And we're initially introduced to George Clooney's character as a young boy back in the 1960s.
Aren't we introduced to him as an adult?
We're introduced to his voice as an adult.
Oh, I
the-
thought it started with the narration of him and the girl before she's like, well, where did this start? He's like, fine, and then started talking about the boy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they did show him briefly. You are right. I haven't seen the movie in a while. So we start off with what appears to be George Clooney and a young woman, the female lead in the film, played by Britt Robertson, who are having a discussion about something they appear to be recording, some type of a video, and they're discuss where the supposed adventure starts. And George Clooney
Yeah.
starts it.
And they seem to be showing their parallels in character. Like George Clooney's character's like, the future is scary. And she's like, really scary? That's the word you're going to use? He's like, yeah, scary? Why? Isn't that a little depressing? He's like, oh, but what would you do? And she's like, well, wasn't there a time before all of this happened when you were happy? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, well, start there. And then he introduces her as the boy.
Yeah, one thing I will admit is the first 20 minutes of the movie, it's a little rough in terms of pacing and organization.
I will say, the bit with the boy, with his little jetpack,
He's got a jetpack. That's adorable.
he tried to make a jetpack, it goes horribly wrong,
Uh,
in a hilarious way.
He made it out of a vacuum cleaner.
But it looks really cool. Like, I love when he goes up and tries to present it to Dr. House.
He does.
Wait,
Hugh
House?
Laurie. Hugh Laurie's in the movie.
oh, cool.
He is. And he's not doing his American accent.
He's not. He was just straight up being British.
Which, I liked. I like Hugh Laurie. And I
Laurie's
thought
great.
really liked his character too, when the boy's like presenting the jetpack and he's like, what function does this serve? What do you mean? How's this going to make the world a better place? He's like, can't it just be fun? It's like,
No.
really? You better have a better answer than fun. And the boy came up with an answer of, well, I'm sorry, if I saw someone jetpacking over me and I looked up and saw it, I'd be inspired because I'd think anything could happen. And as a result, Hugh Laurie's daughter in the film kinda likes him and wants to give him a secret pin.
She's gonna pin him.
Yeah, basically, we see George Clooney's young boy as he invented he lived on a farm with his father, who was kind of a stern, I don't like his father. And he was always a believer in science, something his father didn't really care about because he was a farmer. He was just a simple guy. And he built this jetpack out of a vacuum cleaner and brought it to the actual real-life world event, the 1964 World's Fair. And he tries to basically sign up for the invention contest that they have at the World's Fair. And basically, Hugh Laurie, who is accepting the entries of the World's Fair, turns him down. But when he talks about
he turns it down because his jetpack doesn't work. When he asks him, "Does it work?" The boy's like, "Well,
it almost works.
It doesn't fly." He goes, "It doesn't fly." And then you see a scene of him trying to fly, and he just shoots across the ground in a straight row like a rocket, and
crashes into a barn, if memory serves.
Yeah, which is funny.
Indeed. So we see this session of we see a young girl played by a young actress Raffi Cassidy, who, in my opinion, is the best actor in the movie. No offense to George Clooney, because she did a great job. And so she basically introduces herself to the young George Clooney. His character's name is Frank, and gives him this special-looking coin that everybody saw in the trailers for this movie and didn't know what the hell was going on.
Not coin, pin.
Pin. You're right. It's a pin. Sorry.
What does it
Because
look like?
they tied it with because they tried to base it on the collector pins you can actually get in the theme park.
Right.
Oh.
Because the boy even wears it on himself as he's going through it to Small World after all.
Yeah, the pin is is round. It's a goldish orange with what appears to be the symbol of like a molecule in the background, and in front is a big blue letter T.
Yeah, which is that is based on the collector pins, I believe, because I believe that's one of the things Disney did at the parks. I'm not entirely sure, but I believe they did a series of collector's pins. So I imagine when this film was out, they probably would have introduced the Tomorrowland pin in the Tomorrowland district.
Yep, they still do collector's pins, if I'm not mistaken.
They do.
That's always been a fun thing. But yeah, so basically we see over the course of events where he, attempting to find out what's going on, follows the girl and Hugh Laurie, and ends up discovering that hidden beneath the It's a Small World attraction is a secret entrance to a parallel dimension known as Tomorrowland, a futuristic utopia in which free thought and invention is encouraged without the encumbrance of economics and politics.
Which, fun fact, Walt Disney himself wanted to make this.
That wouldn't surprise
Sounds
me.
like Star Trek.
No, I mean, he wanted to, not the parallel universe, but there was reports of, when Disneyland was first created, there was, let's say there was the park, he was going to make, at the bottom of the park, a utopian society where people worked, lived, and existed without having to worry about the outside world and the politics around it, and could just be happy and go to the Disney park when they wanted and just generally live life in a utopian way. But sadly he died before it could happen, so yay. Which means this film is literally Disney now is the evil corporation telling us why evil corporations are wrong, including product placement by Coca-Cola. Without any sense of irony, which kind of hurts the film's premise, I feel, of being, you can't talk about how wrong evil big corporations are while you're a big corporation.
Yeah.
I'd be like having an interview with Hitler talk about how wrong Nazis are.
Yeah.
You're like, well, yeah, but you're one of them.
But then who better to know how wrong they are than one who is one?
But one who is one doesn't necessarily know they're wrong. Like, Disney never see themselves as an evil corporation. They always see themselves as, like, the family-friendly underdog that wants to stop the big corporations, despite realizing they've become everything they hated. I.e. the John Cena speech of, they're now the New York Yankees.
I was going to say they see themselves as God, but...
Ouch. But that's very true. But anyway, George Clooney discovers this world where he runs into the young girl again. What is that character's name? Because I feel like I'm not actually using the character's name in this.
Annie.
Thank you.
I don't know, I just didn't need to look it
you
up.
weren't that far off. Athena. It was an A. But at any rate, he finds the girl Athena and discovers that this is basically a parallel world where the greatest minds of the time can come together and invent and explore the possibilities of humanity in peace without the encumbrance of greed and economics or politics getting in the way and corrupting things.
Including people like Tulsa and stuff.
And yes, the land was invented by Nikola Tesla, Thomas Edison, and several other major minds at the time. Eiffel as well, the builder of the Eiffel Tower, was also in the group they mentioned.
Yep, and I was like, that's kind of cool that they're drawing upon history, and what if this was real, having those great minds who have invented so much for our world, just being able to invent stuff without that type of stuff, what would happen?
Yeah.
Which I will go back into it later on in this review, but that's something this film does a hell of a lot of. Some great, really intelligent concepts.
Yeah. It's true. It is worth noting here that in the commentaries and things, it was mentioned that Disney was at least a little aware of how on the nose this might get, so they did remove the originally shot references to Walt Disney also being in that group. There was some sequences of references to Walt Disney being a member as well, and they had considered making him one of the main members, but they realized that would be a little too on the nose given the movie, so they decided to pull that out.
Yep, which, to be fair, it's still on the nose. Like I said, like that scene where she pulls out the coke and just drowns it like she's having a cock is kind of ridiculous.
Like she's having a cock.
She's having a cock.
Have a smile on a cock. But yeah, basically,
Get a cock.
yeah. But basically, I'm like, you can't use product placement as well in a film about how evil corporations are. It doesn't work. Which that's one of the things that frustrates me about this film. Is like I said, it does loads of concepts. It doesn't follow them through to their intelligent conclusion.
Mm-hmm. In all fairness, though, it didn't do it as badly as the Lorax movie.
Oh, I'm not saying it did it badly. I'm just saying it didn't follow it. Like it had all this potential and it has these great ideas, but then the actual execution and payoff for the said ideas is just all the way down there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh.
Mm. At any rate, so George Clooney meets young Athena again and explores this fantastic world, as Athena explains that basically her job and the job of several others like her is to recruit new up-and-coming minds to contribute to this utopian world. And Frank is brought in as a member of this world, and we see them kind of do their explore the world. Specifically, Frank actually sees working jetpacks in the world, and actually gets his to work briefly while he's there, which is pretty cool. He gets to fly it around and use it to locate Athena, which is a very fun scene. At this point, we cut back into the opening setup of older George Clooney and the main female character, who interrupts him and says,
Not Athena?
It was not Athena, yes. She's played by Britt Robertson. Her name is Casey Newton. She is a tech-savvy teen from modern day.
Who is the living embodiment of hope.
Something like that. And effectively, she says, "No, this isn't working. Let me tell the story." And so she interrupts George Clooney and proceeds to tell her own story. And she basically has a relatively similar background. She's incredibly smart, very inventive, not really accepted by her family. Same basic premise. And in this world, she ends up coming into possession of one of the pins as well. She finds it among her personal items after her father, who is actually played by country singer Tim McGraw, which was kind of cool. Don't know why, but sure, why not? Tim McGraw's cool. But he works for NASA, or he did before they shut down his project and are now laying him off, something she is very upset about. And so she proceeds to break into NASA in an attempt to sabotage the project that is putting him out of a job so that he can keep his job longer. Fortunately, she's caught and arrested. Her father has to come bail her out, but when she picks up her possessions from the front desk at the prison, amongst them is a Tomorrowland pin that she did not have before.
Yep.
Upon touching the pin, she is transported, at least visually, into Tomorrowland. She sees the futuristic world. At least, at first, she sees a wheat field and a beautiful, paradise, and she discovers that she can walk around in it, but she's actually she's seeing what she sees when she touches the pin. She's still walking through the world around her. And she basically walks around and runs around trying to explore this world. She has to try it a couple times because she keeps running into things and getting interrupted. And inevitably, she finds the utopia and sees a rocket taking off, and sees all this cool utopia about Tomorrowland, and tries to find out what it's all about. She wants to know more. So, being a teenager of the modern era, her answer is to go to the internet. And she finds...
That's your answer.
True. I didn't say it wasn't everybody's answer, I said it's specifically teenagers' answers.
Yes, I was just saying it was yours because you said being a teenage girl in the modern era, she checks the internet. I just wanted to point out that that's your basis, thus comparing you to a teenage girl and fulfilling my lifelong dream of insulting you.
Oh, you fulfilled that many times over.
I've never insulted you.
Okay, then.
I retconned it.
At any rate, the information that she finds on the internet leads her to go on a trip to a store in I believe it was in New York City. Is the store actually?
You're from there.
I know it's Houston. Sorry, this is in Texas because her father works at Cape Canaveral. So as she goes to the big city, no. She goes to Houston and finds this store where she asks the two proprietors about the pin. One of which is played by Keegan-Michael Key, whom I like to see in things. And basically they reveal they know information about the other world known as Tomorrowland and details about it and try to buy the pin from her. But she senses suspicion and she refuses to sell it, which leads to the revelation that they are in fact some kind of animatronic android to attack her and a fight ensues.
Holy shit.
Which they fall into the stupid category with them, which I hate in films.
Yeah.
Of when she meets them, they're so human, they almost convince her. The second she realizes they're robots, or once she finds out they're robots, they go way too robotic. Like they suddenly forget being human.
Yeah. It's weird.
And the effects and the acting with them was a little.
It was, but they're referred to as animatronics, is what we call them in this world. And they try to attack her and take the pin, but to little avail. Until Athena happens to show up, seemingly out of nowhere, and saves her, destroying the androids in an explosion that destroys their comic hobby shop, and getting Britt Robertson's character out of there, taking her on a trip. She explains that I'm the one that gave you the pin, and that I need your help to save the world. But we can't do it alone. We have to get some more help, and I know someone who can help you. So she drives her to Pittsfield, New York, and there's the scene of a 7-year-old girl confidently spouting all this while driving a pickup truck is hilarious.
She drives a fucking pickup truck.
Yes, she's driving. The thing is, Athena is actually also an animatronic. It was established that that's why she's still a 7-year-old girl, despite having been that age when she met Frank 40 years ago.
Which we'll get into in a sec, but it leads to one of the most fucked. Which leads into, in my opinion, the most fucked up part of this movie.
Okay.
But we'll get to that in a sec. First of all, they need to go find someone. So they go to find George Clooney, who, unlike his other roles in such films as Batman, is playing someone who's a reclusive lockaway shut-in with a secret computer. Oh wait, that's exactly like Batman.
Nice. But yes, they go to Frank's house, where Athena proceeds to dump Casey out of the truck and then drive away. And so Casey attempts to get George Clooney's attention at the house, where she holds up the pin to a camera to show him. He's like, "Where the hell did you get that?" She's like, "It was given to me." Blah blah blah. He's like, "That's not possible. Go away. I don't want to see you." And basically refuses.
That's not how that happened.
How did that happen?
She holds up the pin, and he literally sends like a force wave that knocks her flying and the pin to the floor. Opens up his door, comes out, looks at the pin, then gives that. I just wanted to make sure people were aware he did physically abuse a child.
Good to know.
To steal her pin.
Yep. I'm
glad to know Disney condones that, because I'm really looking forward to my trip now.
So, he knocks her down and basically says, trust me, you don't want to be involved in all of this. It's better for you to just go home. If you don't, you're not going to like what you're going to find out. Just go home, live your life, be happy. don't worry about this, locked himself back in his house.
He steals the pin.
And steals the pin. She flat out refuses to leave and basically starts camping out outside his house as he sees her on the camera bank that he has inside, but won't talk to her. And it starts pouring rain and thunderstorming and everything else, and she's trapped outside in the rain and everything else. And being that George Clooney is not a complete heartless bastard, in the movie anyway. Ding. Sorry.
Yeah,
But,
he did let her inside.
Yeah, but he inevitably lets her inside because he's not a huge dick.
And that goes into the scene where I was mentioning she was basically hope incarnate, or whatever you want to say. When they're talking, he's like, blah, 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 no, the world's going to end, yada, 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 look, it's 100% going to end. She goes, is it? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, is it? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, I'm pretty positive. He's like, really? And then the clock goes dunk and goes down 1%. He's like, oh my god, you're God. And that's the end of that scene. Thank you. I helped.
That's a fairly accurate summary, shockingly. But effectively, George Clooney lets her in, and he basically goes on a tirade explaining, how would you like to know the exact moment you're going to die? Because, I've got these big fancy computers and all these calculations, and the world is 100% going to end, and I know when, and there's nothing we could do about it, and that's made me really depressed and cranky and pissed off.
Although, to be fair, that bit of banter was kind of funny.
It was.
Of, how would you like to know the exact moment you're going to die? You know when I'm going to die? No. But I can tell you when you're going to die? Oh, you can figure out when I'm going to die based on some sort of scientific research? No. But what if I showed you how you were going to die? Oh, you have something to simulate my death? It's a hypothetical question.
That was pretty funny.
And I'm just like, that is funny.
So like answering the hypothetical. But anyway, he explains that basically it's a 100% chance that the world's going to end and everybody's going to die. And there's nothing we can do about it. And you getting involved in this is just not going to... It's bad. Trust me, you don't want to get into the level of basically, knowledge in this case is not good. Because if you knew what I would know, you would hate the rest of your life, not be able to be happy the rest of your life. You don't want to know what I know.
You knew what I would knew?
He's fucking drunk as shit.
Like if you knew what I...
when you talk about how knowledge is power, you then turn around and say, if you knew what I would knew. I know, Jim, I know you corrected yourself, but I'm not letting that go.
Fair enough. But
in fact... Okay, now I'll let it go.
So, it should be noted that after he comes to talk to her the first time, she tricks him into leaving and she locks him out of his own house, using his own devices against him, which is, again, hilarious, and pisses him off to no end. But after using a secret tunnel to get back into her house, he basically explains the deal that, fine, what you saw, yeah, it was a real place, I was there, but they kicked me out. They threw me out, and I'm bitter because of it.
To which she's like, ooh, you're really going to hate what I just did. No, I'm kidding, she never mentioned it. But she should have.
Yeah.
So why did he get kicked out of Tomorrowland?
Well, he doesn't say. It's kind of... They don't... Yes, they watch Batman and Robin. But, but besides that, no, he doesn't explain it till later in the movie. And effectively, he basically said they kicked me out of Tomorrowland, and as much as I would like to get back, there is no way to get back. What you saw on the pin, it's a fantasy. It's not real. It's not there anymore. And he basically posits a question to her about, he asked a question about what if you knew exactly when you were going to die. And then he asked, and then Casey wonders, well, what if, it's 100% likely that we're going to die, but what if that's only because we're accepting that it's 100% likely we're going to die? I'd like you to tell me when I'm going to die, but if you did, I probably wouldn't believe you because I don't believe it's set.
Yeah, and she also basically said because we make our own destiny, and if we know how we're supposed to die, we can change our destiny. And then the clock goes, I think it was less than a percentage too. And it makes George Clooney go, what?
Yeah, he has all these computer banks that are... Yeah, he has all these computer banks that are all red on the screen, and this countdown clock that says 100, this thing that says 100%. And when she says all this, all for a split second, all the screens turn to a beautiful blue sky, and the clock goes down to 99.9 or something like that. And George Clooney has a freak out, like, but how the hell, wait, whoa. How the hell did you do that?
Because you gotta believe.
Pretty much, it's a Disney movie. Yeah, so it goes down, actually I have it here, it goes down to 99.9994%.
Yeah, and she goes, he's like, how did you do that? And she's like, because I believe if you truly believe in yourself, anything's possible. And then it goes straight back up to 100% when the computer realizes she's a dumb bitch. And probably thus incapable of changing destiny. And that's how our movie ends.
At any rate, action sequence ensues as an army of animatronic guys in creepy suits that look like the men and look like Agent Smith guys show up and begin attacking the house. And they use some of George Clooney's cool gadgets to escape and beat them up and yada yada yada. They manage to sneak out and get away. At least away from the short distance away from the house, where Athena conveniently shows up in the pickup truck and picks them up.
She's still 7.
Still 7. She's an animatronic. She's been 7 for 40 years. She ain't agent. She's a robot. She was built 7.
And this is where I'll go. This is where I'll go into the part I didn't like.
And I know where you're going. And go ahead.
George Clooney seems to flirt with her a hell of a lot, and there seems to be sexual tension between George Clooney and a child robot.
Yeah, the concept as they explain is basically young George Clooney from back in the 60s fell in love with her before he knew that she was a robot, and it kind of broke his heart when he found out that she was a robot and she was never going to age or anything. And there's kind of this latent thing between them from back when they were a quote-unquote romantic thing when he was a kid.
Like, hey, I'm a mechanic. I can make your boobs bigger if you want. Like.
Understanding more why he was kicked out of the area. And now made to live in an area where he's no longer near public schools.
He was kicked out for the same reason Mo was talking about how he's going to get kicked out of Disney a little while ago.
No, I was going to beat kids up for their pins. George Clooney wants to be Jimmy Savile of Tomorrowland. Which, hopefully you get the reference. If you don't, it's still funny.
I don't.
Would it help if he said he wants to be Michael Jackson of Tomorrowland?
Okay.
He wants to be a hologram people are going to use to exploit his death for profit?
Ha!
Mm.
Nice. At any rate, so Athena picks them up, and at this point George Clooney takes over driving the truck, so it's less awkward. And they proceed on a journey where, George Clooney explains the concept of, the thing is, they say there's an entrance, but I think there actually is one way to get back into Tomorrowland, but it's a huge pain in the ass. But if what I just saw in my house is real, and you actually have the potential to change the 100% certainty of destruction, then we have to take that opportunity. So they go on a journey. As George Clooney explains the background of Tomorrowland, it was invented by, like we said, Tesla, Edison, Eiffel, Jules Verne, some others. And they invented a group known as Plus Ultra, who were dedicated to finding other dreamers and inventors, and they invented Tomorrowland to have a place to invent.
And also, no fat shaming. Yay, plus sizes.
And no fat shaming. Well, in Tomorrowland, it's like literally that future you picture. They have meals in pill form that keep you thin and healthy all the time.
There you go.
It's literally what the 50s thought the future would be.
Yep.
Like the Jetsons.
Exactly. Quite literally. That is accurate.
Yeah, it is sort of like the Jetsons ran by Nazis.
Whoa.
And so
they
go
ran by pedophiles, but
Yeah, well. So they
It wasn't run by pedophiles. The pedophiles were kicked out.
But they go on a journey where they go to find, because apparently there are still some latent Tomorrowland technology around, and they find a teleporter that teleports them from America to the Eiffel Tower in Paris, which it turns out was built by Eiffel. Yes, it looks pretty, but it also converts it into a fancy rocket ship that launches you into space. You get the momentum coming back down to Earth to transport into Tomorrowland, apparently.
The Eiffel Tower is a rocket ship.
It's a rocket ship. It launches into space, and then it turns around and it comes back down through a portal into Tomorrowland.
But it's not even has it inside. It's just a wireframe.
There actually at the top of the tower there is a small interior area.
Okay.
And to be fair, there is like restaurants and stuff that are now built more into the frame.
Yeah, they've added stuff to it.
Okay.
So they take this fancy rocket, and also, by the way, also if you ever take one of the Tomorrowland teleporters, bring sugar because it takes all the sugar out of your body, and you will immediately need high sugar drinks to replenish yourself. Hence,
Weird.
conveniently placed fridges of Coca-Cola.
Because in a utopian society about what the future needs, it's drinks that give kids diabetes.
Yay.
And I'm a big
Diabetes.
supporter. I'm a big supporter of Coca-Cola.
He is.
I like Coca-Cola, but still, product placement and making a kid go with a Coke.
Like she's eating a dick.
Pretty much.
And you just see George Clooney looking at it with a bow chicka wow wow. And he's giving her like the Twilight stare as she's
I wish
drinking
he
her
was
Coke
eating
like
my
this.
dick.
Oh, it's like the late-year-old drinking it, and George Clooney's just Twilight staring at.
Why couldn't it be my dick she was eating?
Also, it should be noted, I said that the one actress that George Clooney was hitting on, that the character is supposed to be 7. Actually, she's closer to about 11. I was slightly off on that.
Oh,
Still
but that
creepy,
makes it
but
okay.
it's still creepy. I just want to make sure we have the age accurate.
That makes it okay.
At any rate, they get into Tomorrowland and they find out that it's not the Tomorrowland that was seen when Casey touched the pin. Tomorrowland has become somewhat of a desolate wasteland, and as George Clooney explains the whole thing, as they find out when they get there, what happened was Tomorrowland was supposed to be a place of hope for the future, everything else, and George Clooney, being a great inventor, made the mistake of inventing a machine that could see the future. George Clooney built this thing, and this thing basically shows a future that shows that the world is going to destroy itself, and that it is an inevitability because of all the negativity and the horrible things, and probably Donald Trump,
Becoming president.
and just all kinds of horrible things. And the destruction, the humanity destroying itself is inevitable because there's too much negativity, and basically because nobody gives a shit enough to stop it. And why should they? It's inevitable. However, they get there and they run into Dr. House, who it turns out is actually the governor of Tomorrowland. They kind of showed he was kind of a powerful dude before, but he's the governor of Tomorrowland. That's why he was like in charge of seeing inventors to pick people to come.
And also, spoiler, he's totally the villain.
Yeah, he's completely the villain.
I mean, after a certain point, he just starts to wear like black, long trench coat villain robes and shit. Like he's not even hiding it at this point.
Yeah, he literally does.
Isn't that the whole part of the ending? Like no fucks given, and that's why the world's gonna blow up.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. The ending is bad with the discussions between them about hope. No.
Yeah, it's really
hope,
cheesy.
No.
It's really cheesy, but they run into Hugh, and immediately when they get back into Tomorrowland and they arrive and look around, and Clooney explains about the desolate wasteland, Hugh Laurie shows up in a Jetsons Air car with some other dudes and steps out, and from that moment he steps out, he's like, "Hello, Frank. It's been a long time." And the minute he says that, you're like, "Oh, he's the villain." Like, it's just obvious the minute he steps out and says a word. And basically, Hugh Laurie proceeds to go on and explain to something that George Clooney didn't admit. And that was the fact that George Clooney built this machine that basically predicts that the future is going to end. And because the machine said with 100% certainty that humanity was going to destroy itself, everybody lost all hope that there was a positive. The reason Tomorrowland existed was because everybody had hope for the future, what it could bring, what we can become, what we can invent, where we can go. But when George Clooney built this machine that said destruction was 100% imminent, everybody lost all that hope. And Tomorrowland fell into despair, became a wasteland.
Which is stupid. Because the world that's going to end is the world that George Clooney was in when the girl found her. And this is a teleporter to a parallel dimension. Why the hell would this one also destroy itself at the same time as the other would? Surely one of them wouldn't.
No, it's not going to. As evil Hugh Laurie explains, the idea is, he explains, this is a parallel dimension. We're going to be safe here. No matter what the world out there does, we're still going to be here. But it just sucks that 98% of humanity is going to be destroyed when the world goes up because your stupid machine made everybody give up hope.
Yeah, but I just found it weird that they gave up hope in that dimension if they were completely safe, just because they isolate themselves from humanity. They don't give a shit anymore.
They do, but the idea was
Shit
supposed to be that they
anymore.
were. The idea, as was explained, the idea was that they were going into Tomorrowland to see what they could build and create away from the encumbrance of economics and politics, and then inevitably bring it back into the real world to show, hey, this is what we can do if all this negative, economics and politics and all this negative shit is put aside. Look what we can do, and that would inspire everybody to be better and to
Yeah.
get past
Look-
all that. That was
Look
their
what we can
intent.
look what we can do. We can make sexy 11-year-old robots for people who are Oscar winners.
There was a lot of wondering on the internet as to whether that was a dig at George Clooney's penchant for dating younger women.
I would make the case that's giving Disney way too much credit. They probably thought, "Ooh, love conquers all, true love's forever," without realizing it's really creepy if it's George Clooney with an 11-year-old robot kid.
Yeah, probably. So anyway, Hugh Laurie takes them to the big giant evil computer that Clooney had tapped into from his house that was showing evil red and 100% destruction. And George Clooney explains, no, evil Hugh Laurie, we can still save everything. This girl, she has hope. I was at my house. The number went down. It went down. We can still save it. It's non-inevitable. And Hugh Laurie's like, yes, it is inevitable. We can't stop this. You and I both know it. And George Clooney and Hugh Laurie have a fight. And what Casey realizes after they started arguing about this, and Nick's basically the evil Hugh Laurie explains how the machine works and everything, and she says that it's not destined to end, and they see the slight change that Clooney saw at his house, but the governor says that one girl, that's not enough, we can't change it, and Casey realizes that the machine is what caused it in the first place. The machine uses tachyons because we need Star Trek technobabble here. And that the machine is basically broadcasting a tachyon pulse telling everybody that the world is coming to an end. It's broadcasting literal negativity, making everybody accept the end of the world as an inevitability, which is what's making the apocalypse an inevitability. And the more people believe in it because they see it on the machine, the more likely it is to happen. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and if they destroy the machine, they can avert the apocalypse.
You just gotta believe.
You just gotta believe. So they
When Hugh Laurie and George Clooney battle it out in a big musical number in which Hugh Laurie totally reveals all of his plans, as is the way for a Disney villain.
That would have been amazing, but no. George Clooney
I want that to be true.
George Clooney and Hugh Laurie just start beating the crap out of each other after. He's like, no, screw you, and they start fighting. And the android girl and the other girl start trying to basically the android girl has a bomb inside her android body conveniently, and she gives it to say, take this bomb, go blow up the big machine thing that's making everybody let's bring in the apocalypse. And they have this big fight.
George Clooney's like, no, that bomb's my son. She pulled it out of her. It could have been a pregnant bomb. Half human, half robot. It's a bomb.
Half bomb.
Yeah. So anyway, they had this big fight. They all go back and forth trying to fight off the. Hugh Laurie has some evil robots that work for him that they have to fight off. And Frank tries to use the bomb. Yeah, Frank tries to blow it up, and Hugh Laurie ends up. Hugh Laurie's
Frank is an evil robot.
Well, even when Hugh Laurie says we can't have this, and he opens a portal to an abandoned island somewhere in some reality, and says we're going to toss you all there. You'll have food, you'll live, but you're not going to get involved with all the plans and everything else, and that's just going to be how it is. You're going to have to accept it. But they start fighting him off, and Hugh Laurie and George Clooney fight through the portal, and the bomb goes with them, and the bomb blows up. They close the door in the nick of time, and the bomb blows up there, so they don't have the bomb anymore. And then Android Girl is like, well, I have a self-destruct mechanism. You can use me as the bomb. George Clooney's like, no, we can't do that. She's like, you have to.
End my pedophilia forever, and also save the world.
And,
no, it won't be a pedophile anymore. When he looks at the other young girl that's with him, it's like, actually, sequel.
And when the bomb goes off, Hugh Laurie got pinned under a big old beam and couldn't do anything. And he manages to grab a gun and starts firing, and he fires at the android girl who she saw it happening. She fires it at Frank, but because of the tachyons are showing glimpses of the future, Android Girl sees it and takes the shot, which damages her and sets off the self-destruct mechanism. She says, "Well, I'm going to blow up anyway. Use me as the bomb." That was how it happened. Says,
Which,
use me.
as I pointed out, is there any such thing as an evil robot?
I guess not. It's just who's using it, I guess. Unless you count Zurg, he's kind of a robot.
More cyborg, maybe. But even that, I wouldn't count it as
He's more
evil
machine
per se.
than man now.
I wouldn't even count it per se because if it's a robot that's doing evil, someone must have programmed it to do have done evil.
True.
Also, he became like good stuff with his dad and stuff. You have father.
Yeah.
Came Buzz Lightyear's dad, so he must be some kind of human at some point.
Hmm.
But anyway, so Athena takes the shot, and she becomes injured and says, "I'm going to blow up anyway. Use me as the bomb to take that thing out and save humanity." And she reveals the one thing that George Clooney got kicked out because he built the Doomsday Machine. That's why he got kicked out. But he also left because, like I said, his child self fell with feel that she was an android and couldn't feel love. It ruined his hope. But as he's about to drop her into the big machine to blow it up, she confesses that she plays a final recording log that she had recorded years ago to be specifically to be delivered toward Frank in the event of her destruction. It reveals that despite being an android, something happened to her programming, and she had feelings for him too back then, which kind of gives closure to the whole story. He drops her in the big machine. It explodes. She explodes. The big machine is destroyed, and humanity is saved.
Actually show an 11-year-old exploding? Like,
well, they show she drops into the machine, and then there's an explosion from where she got dropped into.
Okay, because I'm just imagining like arms and legs, like
No, just her. Her dropped into the machine, and then the machine explodes.
I'm just imagining him throwing a child.
And when she played the clip of saying she loved George Clooney, his pants exploded.
I'm just imagining him throwing a child off a cliff and then she explodes, and that's just really fun.
Yeah, this film has, like I said, it has, as we keep making the joke, has an adult hitting on and having sexual chemistry with a child that they then blow up, and the paedophile's the hero.
This just sounds really fucked up.
Yeah, from that perspective, it is a little bit. It is. But meanwhile, we come back to the present and we find out, because when we saw the beginning of the movie where George Clooney and Casey were recording that message and arguing about how to do it, it sounded like they were recording an end-of-the-world doomsday message because they had failed and the world was going to be destroyed, and they were recording this end-of-the-world message. But as it turns out, no, they were actually giving a speech to a host of new recruits, because George Clooney has now taken over as the head of Tomorrowland and is trying to rebuild it and bring back the hope that was lost. He's brought in a whole bunch of new recruits, animatronics that have been built, who are going to go out and take Athena's place in recruiting new brilliant minds and inventors that can help rebuild Tomorrowland and help, resave the world. They're entrusted with an army of the new pins that were made to go out, and we see a montage of them recruiting a bunch of people from different places, working on this, inventing that, doing this. We see all people from all over the world doing these different things, and they bring these dreamers to Tomorrowland, and we see them touching the pins at the same time, and they all appear in the wheat field that Casey saw at the beginning of the movie. Full circle.
Do these animatronic
One of
people
them is
like
supposed
grow
to
with
be-
age, or at least not like children?
And one of them is supposed to be the
they look like they were teenagers.
One of them is supposed to be the inventor of the pizza pocket. He is
Sure, why
clearly the
not?
greatest inventor of them all.
Yes. But at any rate, so they rebuild George Clooney, and with Casey's help, and they bring her father, the NASA scientist, there to help too. And they decide they're going to rebuild Tomorrowland and make it what it once was, make it better, bring the hope back, make it what the beautiful place it was. And they send out more to recruit more people to show, hey, there is still hope in the world. These minds are still out there. These people that are doing these amazing things are still out there. As much as in the world today, everybody out there watching this movie wants to give up hope, wants to give in to the 100% doomsday chance because it seems like there's no chance. There is hope. We can make a better future, but you have to believe in that future or we won't get there. And that's kind of the moral of the movie.
I don't know. I kind of want Fallout 4 to happen. I kind of prefer that future over the Jetsons.
Which also at the start of the film when he's like, out telling the story, he's like, the future's scary. And she's like, come on, can't it be more fun? It's the perfect synopsis of this film.
Can it be more fun?
That is also true.
I kind of just want to watch this ironically now.
You should see it. But all in all, you know, aside from the undertones that come out if you actually look at what's happening in the movie too closely.
Yeah, if you do that thing that people do where they use their eyes to watch the screen, then it's a bad film. But if you completely ignore the film entirely, then there's a lot of good there.
What I'm saying is, it's the kind of movie where the premise was good, the execution was terrible.
Oh god, I'm way too tired.
Okay, if you watch it with the obvious innocence with which Disney made it, not realizing what they did, clearly.
Yeah, if you go in it with the 1950s mindset the film had, and not realise that society has moved on to a place where it now condones paedophilia. But no, the film's not terrible.
No,
It's not a terrible film, Pew. Don't think that.
no.
It's just,
Yeah,
I'm tired.
My main problem is, like I mentioned, they give you all these great concepts, but the payoff for them just goes way too cliched into it. It's the battle of hope, and you're like, oh, stop it! You've done this before in every Disney film ever. It's more.
Yeah.
It should have been. It could have been so much more.
Yeah, and it doesn't, it doesn't reach what it could have been. It's like it's a great concept. It started as a great thing, and then the execution of the ending, it just failed. That said, the effects are really good. Everything looks really cool, especially the Tomorrowland future with all the jetpacks and flying cars. That looks awesome. The acting is pretty good. George Clooney does great acting. The acting of the actress, the young actress Raffi Cassie that plays the android, she was a lot of fun. Just all her, the fact that I was just loving a girl, but because she's an android, she's throwing all the these wit and these jokes and everything else like she's much older, and it's just funny to see. And she acted it so wonderfully.
And I'm still looking forward to the sequel to this because they realised Tomorrowland was a district. They should do this again. They're doing a sequel called The Animal Kingdom, in which Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson realised, hey, I used to be part of the Animal Kingdom. Now I'm going to spend the whole film hitting on a fucking panda.
Okay then.
I'd watch it. I don't know why. But no, it was the film itself. Like we said, it's like we said, it's not terrible. I'd say it's worth a watch. It's just one of those films where if this was in school, you would write down, like if I was a teacher, you'd write on the note, shows potential, needs to work harder.
Yeah, that's about right. And overall, they had a grand concept, but it was the kind of thing where a lot of people couldn't see from the perspective they wanted to, and the execution at the end just wasn't all that, what it was cracked up to be, and that's kind of a shame.
Yeah, like Hugh Laurie went from slightly disapproving father figure inventor guy to over-the-top villain way too fast.
Yeah, because we only saw him in those two things. We didn't see him in between, so we see him, he's just from inventor. Then the next time we see him, black-robed villain. Yeah,
but it's like once they figured out he's a villain, he's like, you already know I'm a villain, yeah? Fuck it, no shit to give, I'm just gonna go flat out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a license plate that says evil.
Pretty much.
I'm gonna only buy Apple products.
Oh.
I'm gonna drink polystyrene Starbucks cups, throw them on the ground, and watch as the Indians cry.
Wow.
You don't remember the old crying Indian trope?
I do not.
It used to be an advert to stop people littering, but if you threw rubbish on the floor, an Indian would show up and cry.
Okay,
One
then.
big manly tear.
Because of the loss of nature.
Fair enough.
But the film ends with the little boy finally coming to and realising he was in a coma from when he hit his head on the jetpack the whole time.
Ha!
He's Ash?
Yes.
He's Ash Ketchum, yes. Nice. But just,
Only this guy won a league.
Oh. It actually still counts to me, damn it.
No, they don't. Fuck off. Orange leagues don't count.
At any rate, why don't you go ahead and give it a rating there, Mole?
Like I said, it's worth a watch, and I feel in the pinnacle of Disney, when we look back in 20 years, everyone will remember like Beauty and the Beast, Simba and Nala, Aladdin and Jasmine, George Clooney and a child robot.
Yeah.
And I feel that's pretty good. But no, I'm kidding with that. I need to stop making that comment now. But no,
Yeah.
like I said, the film turns out to be balanced in between. That's just a really fucked up element of it. But
Yeah.
I'd say give it a watch. I'm gonna give it a rent. So it's middle ground. I'm gonna say rent because I don't think it's worth wasting your money on the full Blu-ray because it does squander its potential in a way which
Yeah.
does distract and annoy. However, it's not so bad you should completely avoid this film. It's worth watching.
Yeah. I agree with that. It's a good movie. Rent it if you get a chance. Watch it on Netflix or something. I don't even know if it's on there, but if you have some kind of rental service or it's on there or like on-demand movies in your cable box, it's worth a watch if you have nothing to do and you're interested in seeing it. It's got a lot of great ideas. The concept of, to make the
Is it
future
on
better, we have to...
Netflix?
I don't know. Probably not. Disney movies usually aren't, but...
Oh.
I don't think actually it might have. I think it was on our Netflix a while back, but I watched
Okay.
ours from the Sky Disney channel they have for movies, and
Ah.
just downloaded it in advance, ready for when we had to review this, so I could watch it because
Nice.
they had it on demand. I was like, hey, it's free. I'll watch it.
Yeah, give it a shot. But yeah, so it's overall, great concepts. But we have to really believe in the future and work to make it better. If we don't believe in the future, we don't try to be better, then we are dooming ourselves to our own destruction. And I think that's a great message to get across, even if it got muddled in the process.
Yep, with some not great concepts, which we mocked throughout.
Yes, we mock frivolously.
Or should I say a bad concept.
Yeah.
And I did enjoy some of the Easter eggs. Like I thought the pin idea of your collector pin helps immerse you into the world of Tomorrowland, which is a district in Disney. I was like, that's kind of genius.
Yeah. It should be mentioned again. The idea with the Tomorrowland pins is that when you touched the pin, you weren't seeing the actual Tomorrowland. What you were seeing was effectively a pre-recording. It was effectively a commercial for Tomorrowland. They established that later on, and that's why when they got there, it was all wrecked and different from what you saw when you touched the pin, because that beautiful place, that whole scene, it shows you. Oh, you go through here, you find the town, you see people being all happy, jetpacks. They say there's a seat for you on the rocket ship. It's explained later by George Clooney that it's an advertisement for something that doesn't exist anymore, which I thought was clever.
Yeah, I just like the idea of tying the pins you get in the theme parks.
Yeah, that was neat.
To it, I was like, that's kind of neat.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I like that.
And I believe in Tomorrowland theme park there is some of the stuff they showed off in this, but obviously watered down.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I don't know how much because I haven't seen all of Tomorrowland. I am looking forward to seeing it, but
Totes.
Indeed.
it's my goats.
It's yeah. There's a lot of things you'll see there. The space war, the astral orbit, or things like that. So there's a lot of the things, some versions of things in there, which is a lot of fun. And they did renovate Tomorrowland just a few years ago. So
Sorry, I'm just thinking of the fanfics and people right now after this.
Hey little girl, do you want to see my bat nips?
Oh my gosh.
so wrong. Okay, well, thank you two for joining me for this review.
Pleasure, Jim.
Pew, thank
And
you
it
for
was fun to be here on the summer
What?
of Disney.
Yeah.
Your hands are half off the screen, Mole. We can't see what you're doing.
I was doing that, and then I put them above my head as mouse ears.
Nice.
And when I go to Disneyland, if I can pick, if
buy
I
a
decide
mouse
to pick
ear.
some up, I may buy some mouse ears just for our end of summer at Disney, because it would be really funny to see me looking just disinterested with mouse ears.
And honestly, given that you're staying in a resort and everything, they may give you some for free.
I do like free mouse ears.
Indeed.
They are better than mouse ears I've had to waste money on.
Yeah. But at any rate, Pew, thank you for sitting in and just hanging out with us while we talked about this.
It was worth the laugh.
Alrighty. Well,
You're
I'm
going to watch
Christina.
this film now for the worst reasons.
She is. She's going to watch this
I
for
really
horrible
want
reasons
to
with the
now.
wrong connotations.
I really want to now.
And then she's going to write the fanfic.
No, I'm gonna look for other people who already wrote it, obviously.
Fair enough.
Logically,
So-
what you should have done if she was a computer is take her personality and put it into an adult robot. And then they
That
could have
would've-
been together.
That would have made logical sense.
And then it would have been less creepy.
It would have been significantly less creepy.
But it would have lost its main premise. That even pedophiles can save the world.
Ha. I don't think that was its main premise, but let's go with it anyway.
I believe its main premise was even pedophiles can save the world if they drink Coca-Cola and buy Disney collector pins.
There you go. Ding ding.
All
ding.
right.
I understood this moral.
You apparently did. So with that, stay tuned for more Summer Disney videos. We're going to be reviewing Eddie Murphy's The Haunted Mansion. We're going to be talking about
Which is terrifying for reasons the film does not intend.
I actually saw that movie.
Pew will be joining us.
You are very
Yeah.
lucky. Yeah, join us to
I-
listen to it. And then, and then
No,
wait,
she
have
said
you been
I've
on the
seen that
ride?
movie.
I own it.
Yeah, she
Oh,
said
okay.
she's seen the movie,
Okay,
so she's
And,
not very lucky.
fair enough. Have you been on the attraction pew?
Yes. Before
Okay,
and
good.
after they changed it to match the movie.
Has she been on the
enough.
attraction? She spent time in your reviews before, Jim, huh? Huh?
All right. So stay tuned for
At least
that.
I'm
We're going to do a
turned on
video.
to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's significantly less creepy than the love in this film.
Yeah, really. And we're also going to do a video on the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, so stay tuned for that. And I'll also be talking about the newest Kingdom Keepers novel, so stay tuned for that too.
Is that
And I
still
will
going?
join you when you talk
Oh,
about
yeah.
them, because I do enjoy at least laughing at the silliness of them.
Understandable. And with that, we'll see you next time. Peace.